we move on to 1999, and Mr. Nudd's back with a 4th victory. What do you remember about that match?
I remember that I had a problem making him do what I needed him to do, but we fished. Again, we had a practice session. You've got to think about as well, which has not been mentioned at all, that throughout my career, the format changed. First of all, we were sponsored by Steads for an amount of money, about £6,000, I think. And then along came Peter Drennan, who has been the most fantastic person ever, and company for sponsorship. With well, you know, it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
So I was disappointed when that sponsorship came to an end. But throughout the time, we've not mentioned the fact that those sponsors have helped considerably with the success of the team, and will still do so. But obviously now that the dinner contacts, it's never going to be, I don't think, unless there's something in the pipeline, I don't think there's anybody ever going to be able to spend that kind of money on promoting the team. Whether it's worthwhile or not, I don't even know that. But yes, but Bob, we went to Spain for Bob's 4th. Oh, by the way, before that as well, you know the 2 World Championship trophies that we've got, the individual one and the World Championship trophy.
Yeah.
The World Championship trophy was given by the NFA.
Yeah.
And it's still there, used. It's a perpetual one.
I didn't know that.
The individual one was given by Ireland until Alan won it 3 times, and then he could keep it.
Okay.
So then Peter Drennan decided, right, if that's the case, I'll give you another one. So Peter went to some archive somewhere of a silversmith, and he got an individual trophy. So that's another thing that Peter Drennan did, although not to us, but to the to Phipps.
Yeah.
So it's been a worthwhile sponsorship. So yeah, so Bob on the Castellón Canal in Spain comes out of a lake, quite quick, bit of fluctuation in depths and speed, and we'd caught these carp. The carp averaged like £3, I think, but anything from 2 to 3, 4, 5 pound. It was always going to be difficult. Spain have never had a good international record. Unless it was like to do with big fish in their country, and it's still the same. We were catching these fish, and Alan was in the team at the time, strangely enough. And Alan considered that these fish were going to be caught at 13 metres. So I said, oh, okay, then fish 13 metres. This is in a practice match. Then he couldn't catch anything. So I'm glad at least we got that out of the way.
Yeah.
And a lot of these fish were caught on the stones, 4, 5, 6, 7 metres out. It was all rocky, stony. And Bob was, I just kept saying, Bob, you've got to do it what we said. Do what we said, which was to fish. As I recall, it was like feeding more, but fishing that line closer in. And he eventually caught well. And just downstream of him, you could see that the Spaniard, one of the Spaniards, and somebody else were also catching very well. I'm not sure who finished 2nd and 3rd in that one, to be honest. But yeah, that was Bob's swan song, almost.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And I was glad for him because, nice guy. Why not? And then the year after, which was the 2000, was the first of the World Games, which was held in Italy. So we got, during that week, we got the ladies, the vets, the vets, the disabled. What else have we got? I think we have the youth team. I think we might have had the youth team there, and the nations one. And we fished on the Arno again, and some of the others were on different places. It was a time of when I thought to myself, because I did all the organising for all the teams then, and booked everybody in and sorted it. And it was a time when I was getting a bit out of love with it, I think.
Well, you'd done...
With fishing even, at the time.
Done 15 plus years, haven't you?
Well, I'd done 17 years.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, right, enough's enough. I think it's time for me to stand down, get somebody else to do the job, but still to look to be the overlord, if you want, so that they are responsible back to me, and I'm responsible then to the NFA. And which is so that's what I did. And we had a decent carry on in 2000. I think did Will finish up with a medal?
Let's have a look.
I think
he won the silver.
Yeah, I think he got the silver. Yeah. And then so when we came back, I said, right, that's enough's enough. And I appointed Mark Addy and Mark Downs to do the job. Mark Addy had been helping me anyway. Mark Downs had occasionally, depending on where we were going and what we were doing. And then, of course, that was my final year with the Nations team. And I think I was justified in doing what I did, because the year after in Paris, they won it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a bit controversial, because like some of the people were saying, some of the media were saying, it won't work, it won't work. Well, it did work, because basically you got Mark Downs doing the organising of the registration and all the travel and the arrangements that way, and running team competitions. And Mark was tactically very, very good on the bank, and he always has been. He always was. And you can't win as an individual. Although in the early days I didn't have anybody doing that. I relied on reserves to help. And it was successful. I did realise that as it was getting slightly bigger, because I don't know how many there were in 28, I think, teams. And on 2 days, you need more than one person. You can't. One person can't run it, and so you need to have some good help. And those two people together worked very well, until Mark Addy decided he'd had enough as well. Yeah.
Just very briefly on the 2001 match. You had Stu Conroy and Sean Ashby making their debuts.
Yeah.
Were these two anglers that you'd used at the European Championship level previously?
Yeah, but not in a World Championships,
No.
and I'd not selected them. But obviously Mark had different ideas. He left out, and this was the year, by the way, where Kim Milson fell out of fishing, because he'd been left out of the Europeans and selected for the World, and he thought it was wrong, that.
Interesting.
Which is strange, because you want to be in one and not the other, and if you're going to be in one, you're going to be in the World Championships, aren't you? Not the Europeans.
Yes.
And it was the Europeans he'd been left out of. I spoke to Kim for at least an hour on the phone, trying to get him to change his mind, asking him why he'd done it, etc., etc. And he said he didn't agree with the management's decision. And then I spoke to Peter Drennan, and Peter also had a word with Kim, and it didn't make any difference. He decided that was enough, and that was what he was going to do, and that was it. And he hardly ever went fishing against, did he?
No.
Basically packed up all together.
One wonders what might have been.
Absolutely.
He could have been a multiple world champion.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah.